You want to talk about how you deserve reparations, black people? Then why not get it from Africa? The people that sold you out. Now, I already know I'm going to have to preface this very loving, very nice, because a lot of black people, a lot of BLM, and not even all black people, because I've learned since debuting conservative that there are also a lot of white people that want to cuddle and keep black people thinking that they're a victim. Like, I can't even tell you how many white people come at me sideways because they're like, oh, you're so dumb. You're just a Republican puppet. You're a Republican mouthpiece. You're dumb. Well, you want to know what's dumber to me than me being a Republican white piece? It's a white liberal trying to tell me how oppressed I am. I always tell people the most racist people in America, if you really want to be honest, are white liberals. But we're going to talk about that on another video. This video is about black people and their bullshit reparations dreams. Black people have this illusion that slavery was only just in America. Black people have this illusion courtesy to a very mythical movie book called Roots, that slavery was some big thing to harm the black people, and black people are out here on the internet talking about how, oh, we have this mythical magic in this thing called melanin. We have this mythical magic that white people want to just erase and eradicate, and they don't want to see us alive. So since the beginning of time, white people have been on a vengeance to erase our African blood, our African bloodline, our African ancestry, our roots, whatever, all that voodoo mess. But anywho, let's talk about the truth. First of all, black people, I need you to understand that centuries of people such as the Middle Easterners for 6 decades, that's 600 years, no, that's not 6 decades, 6 centuries, that's 600 years, that people like the Middle Easterners were slaves before the first African ever even touched the Western Hemisphere. Let's please understand that. So that debunks one, that slavery was this thing based on skin color. If anything, slavery was based on the fact that there were rich people, rich, powerful people taking advantage of vulnerable, poor people. And it didn't matter what your skin color was, because for a fact, the first slaves in America were not black. The first slaves in America were Irish white people. The same way black people had signs that said that no colors allowed and all of this were the same signs that Irish people had to first endure before Africans were even slaves in America. Now, let's get to Africans being slaves. This is going to really seem like common sense to me. I don't know why it's not common sense to everyone else, but if Africa is throwing people out there on the coastline for people to just buy for profit, then how is this exactly a race issue? Chinese people were slaves. Muslim people were slaves. Irish people were slaves. Jewish people were slaves. Just about everyone on this earth were slaves. If we were to pay reparations to everyone who was ever once treated as slave, then what? There's 8 billion people on this world right now. A minimum of at least 4 billion people would need reparations. A minimum. And I know most black people that watch this or hear me say this are going to say, oh, well, Ron, you're just trying to make the issue of black slavery minuscule. You're trying to diminish the importance of what black slavery has done for America. But that same argument can be told to the Indians, because let's give out another fun fact. Indian slaves outnumbered the amount of black slaves that were in the entire Western Hemisphere before and after George Washington. So if I'm over here making black slavery a minuscule thing, then black people, you're over here making Indians being slaves minuscule. You're out here making Jewish people being slaves minuscule, Irish people being slaves minuscule, Asian people being slaves minuscule, if I haven't already said Chinese. You're out here minusculing the experience of 600 years of slavery before a black person ever even touched America. What's that to say about that? Everyone did not get reparations. Irish people did not get reparations. Do we see them out here trying to beg California for $5 million a head of reparations? Slavery was evil and demonic. Let's not get that wrong. Slavery was evil and demonic, but it was not evil and demonic for just black people. It was a worldwide, global, evil, demonic situation to the human race. In South Carolina, the biggest slave owner out of 171 black slave owners was a man named William Edison, who had over 900 acres of land in South Carolina and over 68 slaves. Let's talk about the married black couples in South Carolina who between 1810 and 1868 had upwards 170 slaves. So are they going to be paying reparations too, or are we just going to keep labeling that only white people held slaves? But at the same time, in that era, let's not forget, all white people didn't own slaves, but we had black people in South Carolina, in Louisiana, period, all around the world, slaving people. It is your own ancestors that you love to claim that, want the best for you. And these same ancestors that y'all are telling me that are disappointed, rolling in their graves, crying for me because I'm over here being a Republican mouthpiece, which is so asinine. It's so asinine that black people, liberals in general, love to talk about love and unity, but they're the most segregated, divisive group in America. You want to talk about how you deserve reparations, black people? Then why not get it from Africa, the people that sold you out? Because if you ask me, the seller is worse than the buyer. Nobody would be buying Africans if the African leaders weren't over there selling them off. Let's throw out some more fun facts. White people could not sustain living in Africa because of diseases like malaria. It was quicker for a white person to catch malaria before they could go around with a machete catching a black person, which was never true because, again, white people bought their black slaves off the coastline. Who put the slaves on the coastline? It's very disheartening to me that black Americans want to invalidate the experiences of your black ancestors, the people who fought for their lives to stay on their own land against their own people, chaining them up, putting them in boxes or however they shipped them off, and had them sitting on the coastline like some doubloons. I don't get the notion that black people deserve this, black people deserve that, when you were not the only slaves in the whole entire world. If anything, you were 600 years to thousands of years behind on slavery, but somehow slavery around the whole world is a black person's commodity. Oh, I'm special because I'm a black person who helped build America. Bitch, what? First of all, let's talk about this. It is the work of black people that have built America to what it is today. Okay, well, I didn't know black people came over to America as the Pilgrims with the Indians. So are you now trying to say that, well, let me give you guys another piece of alleged history from the black people. Black people, the ancestry, BLM, spiritual African king, queen black people, those black people, they're out here alleging now that black people were in America before white people, and that we were selling the whole entire world before anybody else on this planet. Now, if that is the case, truly, if that is the case, then how did white people go to Africa and enslave you if you were already here in America? So did you already make yourselves slaves? Which, if I think about it, that could be true, because let's not forget, one of the biggest slave owners in South Carolina was a black man named William Edison with over 900 acres of land. So maybe that could be true. Maybe black people weren't brought over to here on slave ships. Maybe they were already selling the world and just slaving their own people like they were doing in Africa. They slaved them on over to America. All I know is, no matter what theory you want to use, the theory that has been perpetuated, which is why I now don't agree with critical race theory, is completely false. It's completely false to believe that racism was just slavery was just a racism issue, black against white. No, white people were slaves. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's the truth. Slavery was rated E for everyone. Nobody was excluded. If we're going to talk about who actually deserves reparations, I believe that it is the people who fought for black people's freedom, which are the Republicans. The Republicans who fought for black people's freedoms and didn't hold slaves during the slavery era and defeated the Confederacy. Those are the people who deserve reparations. The descendants of those soldiers are the people that deserve reparations. Anybody, black, white, or whatever color, that is a liberal trying to tell you that you are oppressed, that you cannot achieve anything that you want in this world, especially in America. I don't know about other places like North Korea. Hell no, you can't achieve shit in North Korea. But anybody that's trying to tell you as an American, colored American, I don't give a fuck. You could be white too. Anybody trying to tell you that you can't be anything in America, not only are they bound by demonic thinking for disappointing Jesus Christ and believing that a human holds power over them, but they're also very ignorant in life and they're asinine in the brain. I used to be the type to want to sit here and blame everything on the white man. I used to be the type to sit here and blame everything on inequality. I used to sit here and be like, oh, when we gonna get reparations? We need reparations because I'm held back. But then I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, and all this time I've been bitching about reparations. I could have went to school, got me a good job, and built up and up. I could have been great. But listening to you guys not only lead generation upon generations of people down the right path, now we have to have people like me to wake people up and say, you know what, I think we just need to try harder. Not harder because we're black, but harder because we spent so much time as black people believing that we're victims that now we have no choice but to try harder. If you really want reparations so bad, then how about you go book a plane ticket, one-way flight to Africa? Why hasn't Africa ever just sent a message to black Americans saying, come back, come on, we gonna pay for everything. Come back, we got housing for y'all, we got everything for y'all. Why haven't they ever done that if y'all are so like heavily twisted connected? Because mind you, they sold you off. So why haven't they ever offered you some kind of open arms? Are you scared that when you go back, they're just going to re-slave you again and ship you back out? Well, they can't legally re-slave you, but what are you scared of, Africa? And African Americans, what are you scared of about going back to Africa? Well, you can't go back to Africa because you never came from Africa. So just get on your shit and stop playing into this delusional mind game that you're going to get reparations. Just get up and work. It's that simple. The Irish people have got up and worked. The Chinese people have got up and worked. The Muslim people have got up and worked. Everybody has gotten up and worked except for black people. They want to kick up. And even if we want to say reparations are still needed, you already gotten reparations through the trillions of dollars through the Section 8 food stamps, all of this government assistance. Now in college, you don't even have to have an SAT or ACT. I done sat here and wasted my time and took the ACT 4 times trying to get a perfect score. It's getting too easy for you and you still want reparations? You sound delusional.
And that's not being derogatory, that's just straight up facts.